Ladies and gents, boys and girls, what is up? Welcome. Good morning on a beautiful Sunday morning. We are here talking all things college football, SEC football. It is finally game week here on Sunday FUNDAY, the newest live show with SEC Unfiltered every single Sunday of the college football season. And I'm Chris Phillips. He is Dave Shumate. He is Cole Thompson, who we're glad made it back from Vegas alive and in one piece. Again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. We got a lot to get into, lots to discuss. Again, normally we're going to have games to talk about around the SEC, but I figure why not? We'll go live a week early, kind of set the scene, set the stage, get you guys well acquainted with us, exactly what we're doing. Again, we're having a good time here on Sunday mornings, chopping it up, hanging out. Really kind of just a loosey-goosey, man, off the cuff, giving our reactions to everything that took place. And, fellas, if week 0 is any indication, we are in for one wacky college football season. Unfortunately, it might be a college football season. I might lose some money gambling. I hope that's not the case. Unfortunately, week 0 did take a chunk out of my armor, but it's okay. Not a big chunk. We're all right. Either way, again, appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn notifications, check us out via podcast, wherever you get those as well. You can also find us across all social media platforms as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. Now, normally when we do these, starting next week, and of course, we'll be on the tour brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. So these segments will be brought to you by Prize Picks. They're our leading sponsor, leading partner going into the 2024 college football season. But today specifically, we're brought to you by our friends over at GameTime. Why are we brought to you by our friends at GameTime? They're one of our newest partners going into the season. So I wanted to roll this out in style. GameTime is the place to get your tickets. Down the GameTime app. Use promo code SECU to get $20 off your first purchase. Really excited to work with the guys at GameTime. I did a campaign with them last year all throughout the season. And I use them for all my tickets, truly. And again, do you need tickets? Of course you do. It's about to be kickoff. You're going to games. Save yourself $20 with our promo code SECU over at the GameTime website, or download the GameTime app and use that promo code today. Again, guys, I'm Chris Phillips. He's Dave Shumate. He is Cole Thompson. Fellas, what is going on? How we feeling? College football's underway. We've made it to game week. What's going on?
CP, hey, I'm starting to worry a little bit about the ACC, boys. And your boy here, still, the streak continues in negativity, week 0 betting. Oh, having a losing record 3 years in a row officially now. Yeah, Nebraska, Northwestern 2 years ago screwed me. I think the over total, Notre Dame, Navy, and then I was 1 for 3 out of my 3 bets last week. The under hit for me, but it lost Florida State, obviously, money line, and obviously minus 10.5 as well. So the week 0 streak continues over here. But, yeah, the ACC is not looking as –
Dave, if it weren't for you, I lost a little bit of money. I didn't lose a lot. It's funny enough. I guess it was week 0 for my sports book I used too, because I took a prop play. Haynes King will score 1 or more touchdowns. He scored a touchdown, and they marked it as a loss. And I texted him. I'm like, what is going on? So we had to get that corrected. If it wasn't for you, though, I wouldn't have taken the under. So thank you at least for – I lost like $2 or $3. And just to be transparent, my units are like $25. I'm gambling beer money. I'm not, we're not throwing the budget around or anything. So, but hey, if not for you, I'd have been way down and out. So.
No, ACC, big week next week for them. I know we're an SEC channel, but I feel like the spotlight's on them. I considered the SMU game yesterday almost a loss for them as a conference.
Speaking of a man that was around some gambling in Vegas, Cole. Again, I'm glad you're alive, Cole.
Who told you that FSU at number 10 was overrated? Who told you that Missouri was being disrespected because they don't have the same big brand as a company that last year showed their true colors when they didn't have legit quarterback? Who told you guys that this was going to be a 9-3 squad that probably finds its way to lose a terrible game really early on in the season and shows their weaknesses? Who told you guys that DJU was just going to be the same DJU that we all knew? Oh, wait. That was why I won that bet yesterday, and I won some money in Vegas on that, but it all went down the crapper because of my God, what the absolute hell was that performance down in Nevada yesterday? Reno, like
Texas football, Cole.
4-20. They were a 4-20 team the last few years, the last 3 years, and I love Jeff Choate. but you're a 4-20 team. What are you doing? Come on. And you're Preston Stone. And last year, you were known for not turning over the ball. I hammered that 28.5-point line. I feel like an idiot.
I feel like everybody lost money on that game. I didn't see any.
That is a worse performance than Georgia Tech for me.
Cole, I was telling Dave, imagine having, for whatever reason, I mean, I would love to know the amount of people that bet Nevada money line just for fun.
Jeff Choate's first game. There probably not many people. I think a lot of people just assumed.
Dude, half the people didn't know that the game was going on. You look at the stadium for about 3 quarters. Oh crap, we got to go. We're winning at this point. Like, look at kickoff. There was like 4,000 people in the stands. By halftime, you get to 22. Oh, Choate's doing something good. He's not choking away the game. I'll sign up and go inside the building. Let's just see what the Wolfpack can do. That was the way it was.
Did anybody stay up and watch the Hawaii game?
I think I stayed awake for the first quarter, and that was about it.
I didn't either. I popped 2 NyQuil at like halftime of the SMU Nevada game, and I made it to the end. But the second SMU got to stop, and that was it. I turned my TV off. I was past on 5 minutes. But for those that are wondering, by the way, Hawaii beats Delaware State, but only 35-14. That spread was like 40 points.
40 points.
So it was a good day for the Dogs yesterday. I mean, every dude, and I will say this, week 0, and we're talking a lot of week 0, a lot of it's non-SEC because, I mean, that's exactly what happened yesterday. Moving forward, obviously, we're going to be locked in on the SEC stuff, but we are lovers of college football and college sports here. But the week 0 slate delivered. I'm the games. I mean, I'm sitting there, I'm like, why am I so locked in to New Mexico, Montana State? That was a hell of a game.
Yeah,
that was a crazy game.
Yeah, there weren't any boring games.
No.
The SMU Nevada game actually probably amplified the week that you probably thought they may roll through that, and then obviously the Florida State Georgia Tech game.
Is there anybody happier this morning than Clemson, Virginia Tech? I mean, they got to be just like, you know.
Oh, Cloud9. Miami folks, they're already ridiculously annoying, and Miami haters are already ridiculously annoying. That's its own battle that's going to be going on for the next 6 days. That alone.
Maybe booking their flights to Charlotte.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what I was saying, though, yesterday is what if, Georgia beats Clemson by 21, Florida beats Miami and Gainesville. I mean, what if Virginia, God forbid, what if Vandy, Diego Pavia goes buck wild and beats Vatech? Like,
we're not putting that voodoo magic on us.
What are we saying about the ACC? I mean,
we're not saying that because we're not.
I don't care what Virginia Tech does. If Florida, if Miami and Clemson look bad, even if Clemson and Miami look good, I think they're going to play in the ACC championship game. That's not even going to change my opinion on the ACC. I think the 4 through rest of the league spot. And Virginia Tech's that team. We were talking about it yesterday with Cole. That I think because they have so many returners could finish in that 2 to 3 spot there. I still don't have any respect for the league. SMU was supposed to be the 4th or 5th team in that league. Now, granted, that somebody can step up. We're not even.
They were getting a lot of hype.
I say, for starters, were you hyping them? Because I wasn't.
I just national people.
I see it though.
Yeah,
I see
national
people
definitely were.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
And listen, I get it. You ask me right now, if Brett Lashley tomorrow gets offered the Arkansas job and you look at the boosters and how they're putting NIL together down in Dallas, it's going to be a hard sell for him to leave because of what they have now at their disposal as they did back in the 80s. But I didn't think it was going to happen this year. I mean, I thought 8-4 was probably on the table. I thought, okay, you're building an identity. You feel like that you were going to have a lot of praise moving forward, but never thought this 9-3 stuff. I never saw it.
8 wins now will be a stretch. I don't know.
What you said?
8 wins now will be a stretch for them.
Well, okay, let me ask you guys. And Dave, you'll know this from a personnel perspective. You'll absolutely get this part. But what was the whole deal with switching quarterbacks? Because Stone has been a part of that system for 2 years, and the only thing that they lost was their quarterback coach. They brought in De'Aaron King. Yeah. That was the only difference of the offseason for them, the offensive.
Yeah, Johnny Brewer, I think, is the OC at Duke now. Yeah, who's your
yeah, who was and he was the quarterback coach last year at SMU. Yeah. But why would you, if you're the same offensive personnel, why are you changing it? Why are you going and having a 2-quarterback system? Because the second that Stone played the entire second half, it wasn't perfect. It was ugly, but you saw more consistency. The second he threw that interception, they went to the backup, and immediately you already had questions. Why are we making these adjustments?
Yeah, I don't know. I know Rhett. I was with him at Auburn. Rhett somewhat have been a highly emotional guy and will get on to play. Like him and Sean White used to clash all the time. I don't know if it's maybe something, again, this is a total hypothetical. I can't really answer your question 100%, Cole, but it could be something. Rhett's that guy would be like a Spurrier and would pull you. Like if Preston Stoneman had came back to the sideline and said like a smart ass comment back to him about like a call or something, I don't know if Preston's even that kind of kid. Rhett would I think he would pull the hook on him and be like, all right, you're going to sit here next to me for a minute. Like, and we'll figure this out. So to answer your question 100%, I don't know, but he is more willing to do that, I think, than most coaches. But you're right. I thought that was interesting too.
That was dumb
in the first half. Yeah, I agree.
That was dumb. Let him go out there after he throws a pick and try and earn it back. That's rule number one for me.
I'm just happy Preston Stone still found a way to hit the over passing yards. That's all I'll say. I think he was at 254. Over under was 231. Hey, fellas, let's get into a couple of comments here. That's going to be a big part of this, by the way. We are going to take comments. We want to hear your feedback, guys, and kind of let that spark the combo again. As you can tell, this is going to be very open-ended, kind of just off the wall. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of Sunday mornings for the entire crew, probably yours truly, where we've had a long weekend at the tailgate, long weekend at the ball game, and we're rocking and rolling on a Sunday morning before the NFL game day gets going. So our boy Cole Thompson can get out there and cover the Texans. How about the boys in Houston?
I'm going to be a man that never sleeps, and you're always going to have the best version of me. The way I sound this morning is going to be the worst I ever sound. I'm going to be screaming going into the press box. People are going to be like, what the hell happened to you? Live shows
right,
did.
Let's see. Dogs rolling out says, what's up, go Dogs? We got Ron White in here. We got a Boomer Sooner in here from Belly Moon. William Dean says, go Cox. My guy John Rice is up in here. John, what's up? Shout out to the 704 CLT. Peyton Ledwell, talk about Florida State game. Yeah, SMU struggled against Nevada. John didn't watch SMU game, but wow, taking SMU minus 28.5 was one of my worst bets of all time. A lot of people, though. I mean, that line jumped like 4 or 5 points throughout the week. So our guy Chris, Mr. Chris 2 Bits, I'll be linking up with Chris down in Gainesville this weekend. Going to be spooky if Florida beats Miami. It's been crazy, by the way, guys, because we see the comments on the YouTube stuff. I've been seeing Miami people comment on the Florida-Miami preview Dave and I did of like, Miami's going to win 42-10. I'm like, what are you talking about? So anyways, Peyton says FSU was, or Paul Feinbaum said FSU was overrated.
Nice.
Yeah, SMU was getting.
He did not say that. He stole that comment from me.
Oh, he stole that
comment from me. It's always me.
Who's that coming down the track? Oh gosh, it's beginning.
No, baby.
Patrick Sellers era is beginning in Cola. Yeah, huge storyline of week one. My guy Robbie Davis is in the chat. We even got a Big Blue Nation from Star Wars. Kentucky's up in here. Shout out. I'll always have love for Kentucky fans for getting me the Jello shot in Omaha. That's the only fan base that did that. So shout out to Big Blue Nation.
Well, hold on. Now, Chris, are you a big fan of them baseball-wise or football-wise? Because we all know they're not a basketball school anymore. So
I mean, I got love for Kentucky across the board. Big Blue Nation, I think, just spans the entire thing.
They're beautiful. They're a beautiful tribe of people. We salute you here.
Yeah. It's funny. I've got buddies that they're South Carolina fans. They hate Kentucky people. And I mean, it's funny that like that.
Well, I think Beamer Stoops don't get along.
You just wouldn't think there's like this huge rivalry of hatred, but there is. It's interesting. I'm like, really, Kentucky fans? They're like, oh yeah, Kentucky fans. So I don't know. I'll get to experience it firsthand. The plan is to get to Lexington at some point, guys. On that note, again, it is week one. Quick question, by the way. I posed this question a couple weeks ago. In your opinion, maybe there is a wrong answer. Does game week start on Sunday or Monday?
What world? I feel like.
How about both worlds? Fandom world and Dave from you're in the building, because you're still like looking back on yesterday in the building on Sunday, right? Like
Sunday we usually most staffs on average are back in the office at like noon or 1. You'll have a staff meeting, and in today's time with iPads and stuff, most of those coaches will go home and grade it on their iPad and have it ready, and they'll review it as a staff for the head coach. But by like 2-3 o'clock, once the meeting, the players come back, depending if you're off Sunday or Monday, because you got to give them a Monday. For Gus, we always practice on Sunday. Our off day was Monday. So the kids would just have the full first day.
I always thought
we go do corrections that night. With the Sunday's practice would essentially be a walkthrough of your corrections, and that would be it. Then you put the game to bed. Monday was a total. The kids don't come up; they're off. That's just the coaches lock themselves in a room, and it's just Monday and Tuesday are just game planning. That's really what most of it is. Sunday was kind of a laid back, I shouldn't say laid back, but people would get in around noon, 1 p.m. Let them go to church and stuff.
Here's the way that I view it personally. It's 24 hours after the loss. Game week starts for you as a fan. From a fan perspective, you're allowed 24 hours to celebrate the win or 24 hours to grieve the loss. And then your mind gets prepared for next week. Because if you let it linger into Monday, you already wake up with a bad attitude. You don't know what your NFL team did that weekend. So you don't want to be double pissed off at the world. You already got to wake up at 7 a.m. and go back to doing your 9-to-5 job. You have to go back to living the life that you probably are waiting for to get to Saturday. So you give yourself that 24-hour window just to say, damn it, what the hell did we do wrong? You let all your emotions just come on out for the next 24 hours, full day. Let yourself be excited. Let yourself be pissed off. If it's a heartbreaking loss, maybe I'll give you an extra 30 minutes to pull yourself together out of the woodshed or out of the toilet from vomiting from how putrid of a performance you played. But besides that, 24 hours after a loss. That's the way I always view it.
Yeah, 24 hours. Pretty
fair
enough.
I just
so always Sunday. Never Monday.
I think honestly now, as a fan, I've typically been game week starts like Monday morning. But I think now with SEC Unfiltered, it's probably going to be, I don't know, I think the second we finish this show, it's like, all right, we're on the game week for the next week. So with that being said, guys, let's move into it again. We're going to start now. It's week 1 game week. We're all looking forward to it. 4 days. We don't have to wait till Saturday. We got games going Thursday,
Friday.
We got Friday, Saturday.
We get to see a top 10 team play on Thursday because they should have been a top 10 team.
Top 10 team in the Missouri Tigers taking on
should have been a top 10 team.
Mighty Murray State.
Against the Racers.
Guys, I'll say this. Week 0 was a great reminder. I always think it's interesting as we go through the offseason, the preseason, people make predictions, and there's people out there that will lash out and be like, this person has no idea what they're talking about. This person's
you don't know ball.
Week 0, you don't know ball. Week 0 to me is just proof like nobody knows what they're talking about. Like nobody knows what's going to happen. I mean,
especially in today's era, there's not really.
Bro, with the portal, we've never known less. You have never known less. Like, mid 2000s, hey, we knew, we know, okay, these are going to be the guys next 3-4 years. This is who you got. That's who you're rolling with. That's it, right? Like if I'm Georgia, I know David Green's back. I know Danny Ware's my running back. I know that, Freddie Brown and Gibson, whatever, all these guys, I know who they are next 3-4 years. I got these dudes, all these dudes. Now it's so much shuffling. So as we look to week 1 in the SEC, guys, like, I don't think there's an SEC see, it's hard to fathom there's going to be an SEC team that plays a really close competitive game with one of these lower level teams. I'm not talking about the 4 main games.
Yeah.
If there was a SEC team that was going to struggle, though, is there anyone that you can envision that it could happen? Like, could Oklahoma play a closer than expected game with Temple?
Stop.
This applies to everybody. Could Alabama play a closer than expected game with Western Kentucky? Could South Carolina play a closer than expected?
What's considered closer? Is it covering like the 30 points?
I think you don't cover the spread. I don't think there's going to be – there probably won't be an SEC fan base that's happy if they don't cover their spread.
I'm going to go – I don't really think this is that bold of a take, honestly, because it's a redshirt freshman making his first start. I'm going to think South Carolina Old Dominion would be a game that line's 20. I'm not saying South Carolina's going to lose, but Old Dominion was a bowl team last year. I mean, they went to a bowl game. They're 6-7. They're spreading it out. They're going to get their chances. They need to – if Old Dominion has a chance, they got to get off to a good start. They probably got to be up at half, just like most upsets when it's a recipe. You got to go into half, and they're believing they can do it at that point. I would say out of like a true upset, like you mentioned, Chris, I mean, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, not an upset. Florida, Miami. I mean, the Clemson game's 13.5 points. I'll be honest with you. I would be pretty surprised if Clemson won that game. I would be surprised. But for the sake of the argument, I'll go.
And what's interesting about that, Dave, is that spread's 13.5, which at one point Georgia Tech FSU was 13.5.
I think our guy David Garrett's correct right here. He said it, the guy in the comment. If Carolina doesn't cover the spread, it's going to be a lot. I think people will be. I think a lot of people expect South Carolina to win the game, as they should. I think they're going to win. But Shane Beamer, he's very aware of the media, keeps up with it, really cares what people think. Like, he's going to try to run the score if they get an opportunity. If they can't cover the 20, I think people kind of big.
I mean, bro, I got 27 to 10. I got 27 to 10. I mean, it's not. I don't know. I week one such a crapshoot, dude. I think like Kentucky, Southern Miss, maybe Tate Rodemaker's got something in the bag.
I just don't think
I don't know.
Enough offense to beat Kentucky.
not win, but we've seen Kentucky play with their food a little bit.
Well, Stoops doesn't try to go embarrass non-con teams.
No, I know, but I'm saying like last year it was Kentucky played Eastern Kentucky, and that was like a one-score game in the fourth quarter. You're like, what are you doing?
Am I just allowed from here on out when I don't want to answer the question because if I don't want to feel dumb? Can I just automatically
for the Oklahoma take?
Can I just automatically throw it down to
Cole? Don't sleep.
Let me just from here on out when I don't want to answer the question, I'm just going to blame Mississippi State. Just throw it down to them. They already hate me, so there we go.
Is State on upset alert?
Just sure. Just if I had to pick one, State on upset alert. They already hate me. So just
Kentucky played Kentucky really well last year.
But here's the problem, though.
Like, imagine Jeff Levy's opener ruined by the Colonels of EKU.
Well, they're pissed off because of what's it called? Is it Western Kentucky that's blocking them from going to the FBS? Somebody's blocking them from going to the FBS. They're pissed off about it. But like I've heard like them and Chattanooga are like the first two for the Sun Belt Conference. If they ever go expand, they want a team in Tennessee and they want a team in Kentucky, and those are the first two phone calls. So like you played well last year against Kentucky. They don't have the quarterback. That's the problem. And they lose like 4 offensive linemen, and they lose like 2 defensive tackles, and they lose like one of their linebackers. And here we are talking about everything that we have to when it comes to Eastern Kentucky football, which is the most I probably studied Eastern Kentucky football in the history of college football ever. So it's like, yeah, you're probably not going to win. But if I don't feel comfortable saying Tennessee's not going to lose, or I don't feel comfortable saying that South Carolina's not going to lose, well, I'm already hated down in Starkville. They think I'm a piece of shit. So let's just continue to pile on up.
I mean, I'm not asking you if you think they're going to lose. I'm just saying from the standpoint of
closer than the experts think.
We think we know, right? We're just like, oh, they're all going to be are they all going to be blowouts? Are they really? Like,
they should.
They should, but it's college football. Like, we just watched it yesterday.
SECU
should have blown out Nevada. Like,
no, they
shouldn't. How does that make any sense?
Here's what I will say.
Go ahead.
I do believe that because of you will not have Chip Trayanum in the backfield for Kentucky, maybe you are just so preemptively passing the football and you're doing all these design runs with Brock Vandagriff that Southern Miss, because of, and David and I talked about this, because of we know who's on the hot seat down in Hattiesburg. We know that there is a lot of gripe going around their coaching staff right now. Maybe you play close going into the second half. I just feel like there's going to be a moment where the inertia picks up and the lethargic picks up from these two teams. Because one is practicing against SEC competition. The other one is practicing against AAC and Conference USA competition. So it's just going to separate you two at some point. So yeah, maybe if you see like Southern Miss take a 21-17 lead going at half, then maybe you're like, okay, we just want to get a 31-21 win, get out of here alive. That's fine. We're okay with it. But like, do you really think that there's going to be an upset in Knoxville? Like, do you really think that Eastern Kentucky with this offense, with as potent and as timely it is going to go down to the wire with the Colonels? Do you really think that Oklahoma is going to have Jackson Arnold throw 5 interceptions in the game and then say, oh, you know what? We'll be okay. It's Temple. I was just with 2 Temple dudes this past week in Vegas, and they have told me on multiple occasions, they literally do not believe in this program. They feel like they should shut it down because of the direction it's gone in since Matt Rule left. Like, if you have any close slide with that, you guys are giving me crap for saying that I think South Carolina could pull off the upset in Norman against the Sooners, and then, oh, well, now he's going to be on the hot seat. That's a game you put him on the hot seat for. You don't put him on the hot seat for losing to South Carolina after getting a 10-point win in Red River. No, you put him on the hot seat for losing to Temple, which has 10 straight wins. Like somebody in the comment section one time said, calling Temple a bad program is classless. They have 10 wins in 4 years. What would you like me to call them? Above average, quality, good golly tryhards? Okay, cool. We'll do that next time.
Dude, to Cole's point, when I was at UCF, we went and played at Temple at an 11 a.m. kickoff or 12 Eastern at the Link, baby, at Lincoln Financial.
It's the worst place.
There were more UCF fans from Orlando in that thing, dude.
Buddy, it's so disgustingly bad. Like, they have nothing. No, their average attendance, I think, is like 9,000.
It's awful.
It's awful. It is 72,000 stadium. It's 9,000.
I was talking to one of their coaches with how their coaches said their facilities are so bad downtown that like they're like, oh, dude, at least every other week, like one of our cars gets broken into, like somebody throws a brick into it.
That's tough. Again, I would say I wasn't asking if you think somebody's going to lose. Just do you think it could
closer
be
than
like I could see Bama fans being pissed off leaving week 1 because it's Bama fans are probably going to be the most interesting case study this year because they're probably still going to win 10 games, but they're not going to win 10 games the way they used to win 10 games.
No, they're not.
It's not going to look like I imagine Bama fans are going to feel icky watching the defense. I'll just say that. Let me highlight this comment from Chris Floyd. Why is everybody sleeping on Tennessee? I don't think we're sleeping on Tennessee at all. I got Tennessee in the playoff. I got Tennessee in the play. I will say, like, nationally, though, Tennessee is not, like watching yesterday, the game day guys, everybody's so quick to throw
Georgia across
LSU
the board
in the playoff.
Day, huh?
Say that again?
Wasn't it Georgia across the board on game day?
Well, that
whatever.
That totally surprised me. I thought maybe somebody would go Texas.
Yeah.
But everybody, of all the playoff predictions I've seen, a lot of people are throwing LSU in there. Of course, Ole Miss is getting in there, but I don't think I've seen hardly any playoff predictions with Tennessee in there. I don't know. I mean, I don't think we're sleeping on Tennessee.
The only thing I think Tennessee's going to be good. I just don't think they win that game, the week 1 SEC game against Oklahoma on the road. That's the only game I don't think they win. But I think Tennessee's 10-2. I'm with you. I think Tennessee's going to be pretty good.
Dude, if Tennessee beats Oklahoma, I would guarantee you at that moment they're in the playoff. I would guarantee it.
Yeah. So I think that I'm the one that they're calling out because I have them going 9-3 because I have them losing to NC State. So I have them losing Oklahoma and Georgia, but I have them beating Bama. So it's like, I think that they'll win the third Saturday. They'll be awesome. They'll kill it. They'll do a great job. Rocky Top will be rolling. That's a major test for an environment. I think for an environment test more than anything else for a guy, for DeBoer.
Chris Floyd I think he needs to know more of your explanation on the NC State game.
Okay.
Cole's speaking of the ACC.
Why? Because I don't trust Nico in game 1. And again, the problem is that so many Tennessee fans, they've done this the entire offseason. They don't talk about their team. You don't hear about the defensive backfield. You don't hear about the linebacking core. You don't hear about the tight end play or the running back room. You don't even hear about Lance Hurd or Holden Stays or Chris Brazzell. You don't hear about the guys they brought in. No, you hear about one guy. You hear about one dude the entire offseason, Nico. You heard about Nico. You heard about Nico, and all together now, Iamaleava.
I'm here. Week 1, I got it.
Somebody in the comment section said it's Iamaleava. And it's like, all right, cool. There you go. But
dude, I went on a radio hit last week and said it flawlessly, and I was like, all right, we made it.
There you go. But Nico Iamaleava, the guy is fantastic. I believe at the season's end, he is going to be a top 5 passer in the SEC. I truly believe it. But what if he makes a mental mistake early on in the season, and it's a litmus test that does end up being a reason why you set the other opponent up for a game-winning field goal? What do we know about NC State?
You also think NC State is going to be really good.
Right, but what do we know about NC State? Every single year.
We didn't mention too, yeah.
But every single year we know this about NC State. They always know how to run the football. They always have solid offensive line play. They always have a decent wide receiver. They always have a decent secondary. They're always a tier 2 squad in the ACC that flirts with the idea of potentially being in that bottom tier 1 level. Well, now they have the quarterback. Now they have Grayson McCall. Now they have 3 wide receivers that are really damn good. It's not just Casey Compassion. Now they have Justin Jolie, the tight end that comes on over from UConn. I've talked to some people up in Raleigh. They think he is just basically Kirkland brand Kyle Pitts. So now you're throwing that into the mix. And it's your one major weakness. The Tennessee fans, I hear you all the time. You come in my comment section. You come on this video. You'll come and message me. Oh, but our defense is better. I'm not doubting you. I'm the one person who's saying there's a few podcast people that cover the SEC that said they hate your linebacking core. I haven't said those things. I haven't said anything negative about you with your running back room. I've heard people on this channel say something negative about the running back room. Yours truly hasn't. I've said that your secondary is susceptible to explosive plays. And you played 2 games early on in the season where your secondary could get exposed. NC State at a neutral site location in Charlotte and at Oklahoma with the most underappreciated wide receiver core in the SEC. So if Nico can't deliver and go back to back with Grayson McCall, this rushing attack, and if somehow your offense becomes one-dimensional and your defense allows explosive plays, the Wolfpack are howling their way to a victory over the SEC and shutting you up. And so I know what to expect from NC State this year. I know what to expect at the season's end from Nico. But I made this abundantly clear. Have you put enough around Nico to feel like that if he has that rookie mistake, that freshman 15 seconds of failure, that he is going to be able to step on up and deliver and be able to have a great showcase? Because if you're going to have the other people step up. And I just don't think your defensive backfield in that game against NC State is going to be able to hold it.
Mr. I pissed Teal, Grayson McCall.
Yeah. I agree with Cole. I think that game's going to be closer than people think. Like my in-laws are big Tennessee people. I was talking to him this morning. He's like, "Oh, I think we win big." Cole is right. It is a game Tennessee fans have almost like marked as a win. But
they need to stop with that. That's the part that pisses me off so much. Is that it's NC State?
Yeah.
No. The way you should say is, "Oh, that's NC State."
NC State could win 10 games. NC State's for real. Great.
No, I'm with you. I think that game's going to be close. I think Tennessee wins a very close game. I'm with Cole. I'm not going to go say Tennessee's going to lose yet. It wouldn't shock me, but I'm with him. I think that game is going to be close because Nico isn't going to. The expectations are unfair on that kid. Like, he's not going to be coming. I mean, to be fair, you go look at his stat line, and stat lines aren't everything. You got to go back and watch the film. It wasn't like he was just blowing you away against Iowa. He just really wasn't making the mistakes against a team who was missing some guys. Struggle in the athleticism side of things. They don't have athletes at Tennessee. I don't know. I'm with you. I can see Nico. Who are y'all higher on at season's end? Here's a good question for y'all: Nico or Jackson Arnold?
I've got Tennessee in the playoffs, so I think Nico is going to have a really good season. I don't know that we're going to be able to see the best version of Jackson Arnold, by the way, Cole. It's not Jackson Dart. I know
Yeah. That's my kryptonite right now.
I'll say you this. I'm going to go Nico. I just don't know that we're going to be able to see the best of Jackson Arnold on a weekly basis because of the offensive line. I think there's going to be more of those ugly moments probably for him. I think both their ceilings are similar, though, really, truly. So I think if Brent can get him beating ball, they can get him some offensive line help. I think going into like next year, he could be a real dude in the SEC. But I think I think the stock will be higher on Nico end of season.
I think it should be higher on Nico. I think that for me personally, I'm going to see a lot that I like in Jackson Arnold. I've written it down about 100 times before.
In case y'all missed it, Cole. I mean, it is easy to mess up.
It is very easy when you're talking about your quarterback.
Dart in the Oklahoma video, so they
I immediately first, and it was in like the first 30 seconds, and I could have just reset the video, but like, screw it, just keep running with it.
Whatever, it is what it is.
I think that Nico's going to have better numbers this year. I think Nico's going to look more polished this year. I think I'm going to see that risk reward factor that I appreciate in quarterbacks when it's the third quarter and you want to take that shot. That's where you're really going to separate these two, to where these are the two top guys that are coming back in 2025. I agree with you. I do think that Nico probably is the better quarterback for this season. Real fast, Jeff Gullidge in the comment section says, what is a bigger upset, GT over FSU or NC State over Tennessee if it happens? GT. And let me explain why.
The spread will be less. The spread will be less in that.
Because that's number one. But the other thing was, we kind of forget that last offseason, there was a coaching search going around, a pretty prominent one, if you may say so. Probably the biggest one we have seen in our lifetime. Probably the biggest one we've seen in the history of college football, because of Nick Saban just said, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and have my moon pie and coffee on Lake Cahaba with Miss Terry and call it a day. I'm good with that now. And the final two names that were brought up in conversations after Dan Lanning said no, after Steve Sarkisian said no, after literally almost everyone said no, was Kalen DeBoer and Mike Norvell. And Mike Norvell has trusted the portal so much, and Mike Norvell has put such an emphasis on building his team through the trenches and putting his team with veteran talent that has played at other monumental schools, that everyone believed that this was not going to see a drop-off, except for yours truly. Because if you just settled and didn't go out and add in yet another quarterback to push DJU, you just went and said, we're good with DJU. So kind of how we're talking about with Auburn with the $1 million thing this offseason, where they didn't go out and they brought in another quarterback to compete with Peyton Thorne. You are now attached to that guy. And so what if DJU doesn't deliver? And at the end of the day, you're just going to see this team be 8-4, 7-5, and it's because of bad quarterback play. You're not going to see that with either NC State or with Tennessee. Both these teams could lose this game. They could still find their way in the playoff. Where I feel like now a lot of people are actually going to go with the overhypeness when it comes with Florida State and the week 0 effect. But what you're going to see is actually some people double down on their takes like me and go, they were always a 9-3 team. And then a bunch of other people are going to be eating crow and saying, oh, I was wrong. I didn't believe that they were a 9-3, like that they were an 11-1 team. They're actually a 10-2 team. They were a 9-3 team. They're not going to the playoff. And then they're going to sound right. Where either way with these two, you could easily see them lose that game and still find their way to Atlanta and Charlotte in early December with a shot for the college football playoff. I don't believe in Florida State. I have more belief at this point now in Georgia Tech hitting the over in the win total and that Brent Pry is going to get a job, either a major extension or he is going to be the first hot name on every single market for a major Power 4 school.
Yeah, Brent Key. Prize at Vatech. Yeah, you're right.
Brent Key. God dang it. Well, see, no, but I'm high on the Hokies, so they're always in my mind.
By the way, have y'all
NC State's better than Tech and Florida State.
But they don't play each other.
I wasn't really that impressed with Georgia Tech. Honestly, they kind of looked who I thought they would. I mean, how many bad snaps, miscommunications on
week zero. No.
But
you have in the playoffs, so that's only you have Florida State to do well.
It was sloppy. It was sloppy.
No, Chris is Florida State in the playoffs, so naturally he wants them to do well.
I know.
Yeah. I know. I thought Florida State was at 8-4.
And I also said hammer the Knowles like 20 different times before the game. So,
well, to be fair, I think that we all did.
That got me really ready for. It's kind of like when you're playing golf and you get that double or triple out of the way, and you're like, all right, I'm settled in now. Like that, you lose that first bet, you're like, okay, all right, I feel good. I feel good.
I wasn't fired up about either one of those teams after watching it yesterday. I think NC State will be better than both those teams.
I do too. I do too. Now the question is, and
Tech's sneaky though. Tech is sneaky.
Well, Tech's schedule is so promising.
Play Notre Dame well at home, but then they'll go drop one at Duke in a first-year head coach of Manny Diaz on the road. That's kind of
don't you sleep on those Blue Devils, good sir. We have the pride of Longhorn Nation, Malik Murphy, coming on over to Durham. We have that. By the way, speaking of Durham, real fast, Dave, just from a coaching personnel standpoint, how the hell was Tyler Santucci available that late in the coaching process?
Dude, he turned down Elko begged him to come be the DC.
He did want to. So Elko did want to bring him to Texas.
He didn't want to work for Mike, and and you know what else too? He hated because when he was with Jimbo at A&M as the position coach, apparently. Dude, Tucci's a phenomenal dude too, but he was kind of pissed off the A&M fans would get on his ass for not closing recruits. Kind of like he'd be a bridesmaid, but he could never finish against the other. That was the thing that always held him back. People thought he wasn't great in the living room, and I think he was just like, I don't want to go. I think him and his wife were big College Station fans, and I think Elko's such a grinder that he's like, dude, I've worked for this guy for like 8 years. Like, I just want to go be in the ACC and run my thing at Georgia Tech. But he did a good job yesterday. After that, those first 2 drives, he really adjusted. And shit, I mean, you can't stretch the field vertically. Just load the box and do a bunch of run blitzes. I mean, DJ was the ball 2 yards into the stands, did not even give his receivers a chance.
So let me ask you boys this real fast. I personally believe, because there were so many comments in it, and just from a coaching standpoint, everyone was talking about the defensive line of Georgia Tech being the most ferocious of the day. And I don't think that they were wrong. They played, I think, more consistently than FSU did. But I thought the linebacking play was the reason why this was the win for Georgia Tech. Personally, I thought that second level to be able to read and react and be able to make plays where they weren't allowing the running backs to gain yards after contact. That was the difference between Georgia Tech walking away with the dub and an L.
I was disappointed. Me and Chris talked about it when we were driving. I was disappointed in Florida State's defense.
Dude, how many yards? How many times they were drugged by running backs?
Best D line in college football per Pete Thamel, whatever that means. Terrible. They got blown off the ball, man. I mean, like I said,
they were bad.
4 yards before.
They didn't give up a bunch of points until. But if you watch the game, it's like Georgia Tech had that drive. What in the first half, in the half, they had an 8-minute drive. They just ran it down their throats.
Yeah. Haynes King's for real, though, man. I'm happy to see him.
Stop.
Dude, he's a dude. Haynes King's a dude.
Haynes King is a dude. I still can never get over the damn throwing motion, dude. He's just not a fit in Jimbo.
It's so weird to watch. That was always the thing that we talked about.
You were in Aggie Land when Haynes came
yeah.
in there, right?
So that was the thing that we'd always talk about. What do you want? Do you want weird throwing motion or piss missile Zach Calzada? Because one of the two is going to lead you to
Haynes King's come a long way, man. I'm just saying.
I just can't get over it.
And dude, I got a buddy of mine that plays with Georgia Tech on EA College Football 25. We'll play online, and he has smoked me with them. And I'm like, if Georgia Tech is anything like they are in the game, and I was watching yesterday, and I was like, I was like, you've kind of made me dislike Georgia Tech because I have gotten my butt beat by them in that video game. And sure enough, I'm like, there it is. There's
Haynes is a competitor. He's more athletic.
There's Haynes King making an absurd throw, getting out of a sack. Like, I've seen this before. So,
you know what's going to be funny?
Improviser. He is an improviser. That is
he doesn't fit Jimbo's system well at all. He's an RPO.
God.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's really funny now. We're going to hear more. We're going to hear less of you don't know ball, and we're going to hear less of you know ball, and more of if they are like in the game. We're going to hear that so much this year. If they are like as they are in the game, we are going to hear that nonstop.
I'm just saying. All right, boys, in closing, let's give some week one picks really, really quickly. Again, we've previewed all these games, broken them all down. We got 2 previews left that are dropping tomorrow, excuse me, via YouTube, podcast, all the good stuff. We've got LSU, USC, and Texas A&M, Notre Dame. So we'll just kind of run through these for the folks who have not gotten to those. Again, check it out at SEC Unfiltered on YouTube, podcast, all the good stuff. Some of these are really obvious, so we need more than one word answers here. Arkansas, Pine Bluff, we're all going with the Hogs. Mizzou, Murray State, we're all going with Mizzou. Oklahoma, Temple, I don't think anybody's picking the upset there. Georgia, Clemson. I've got Georgia, guys. I think this game, I think the spread is right on the money. I could see Clemson giving Georgia some fits early. Again, Clemson's not going to win. They don't have, but they've got a good defensive line. That could, maybe again early cause some problems. Georgia's got too much. What did y'all say for y'all's picks in this game, Georgia or Clemson?
I got Georgia. I feel pretty confident in them covering this. I think Georgia. I think LSU's got the best 5 starters on the offensive line going to the league. I think Georgia's probably the deepest offensive line. You're talking about their 6th, 7th guy. I just think at some point, hell, they may rotate some guys in. I think at some point, I like what Todd Bates, the defensive line coach, has done at Clemson. They got guys like Peter Woods up front. We've seen Barrett Carter, but I think just by the time the second half was, I think Georgia's just leaning on Clemson. I think Georgia's run game off play action ends up winning that game. I just don't see Clemson generating enough offensive. I just don't see them generating a lot of points offensively, really. And I don't like the skill guys on the outside.
So you were telling me last week about Avion Terrell, the little brother of AJ Terrell. I went back and I went back and watched his tape. He's going to have to play like his brother that he does in Atlanta right now for them to, I think, have consistently taking away one of their weapons.
He's the only guy that's the sure starter. I think they're pretty clueless back there too on who they're going to.
Well, I mean, don't you have like Venables' kid also like is expected to start like at safety or something like that?
That sounds familiar. I don't know.
I think Venables' kid's supposed to start at safety this year. But the point is, regardless, I don't think that their offense is going to be as lackluster as people want to make it out to be. I think that having a full year in this system with Cade and Garrett working together is going to lead to a lot of explosive plays. I was really high on Bryant Wesco. I really like TJ Moore. I just don't know if game 1 against UGA is the way you want to view it. So I said that this is going to be a game that we're going to talk about very similar at the season's end to Dan Lanning year 1 when he went down to Atlanta and faced off against his old boss. They're going to lose. It's going to be ugly. It's going to have a lot of moments where you're like, Jesus, what is this team? Or am I the right guy? But by the end of the year, you're playing for something of meaning. You're potentially going to a conference title game. You're potentially still in the playoff race. I think Georgia wins by 10. I think Georgia wins by 17. But I really do think that the way that we talk about FSU today, after what kind of piss poor performance they put on against Georgia Tech, we won't be having that same conversation about Clemson after week 3.
Cole, when you mentioned the Dan Lanning Oregon versus Georgia experience, I thought you were going to say Georgia beats Clemson by like 30. That's the thing I'm most interested to see, by the way, because I think Georgia covers too. If I got to go one with the other, I'm going dogs to cover. But
I go dogs cover.
For Clemson, your goal, if you're Clemson, just don't let Georgia break your spirit in week 1 because that can happen. I'm telling you, just lose respectably because you go out there and lose by 28. Dabo Swinney's candle is going to be burning out quickly in the upstate. I can assure you. I mean, they're already on edge.
They're not the underdog, man. You heard Jake Brennan still.
Jake Brennan still says we're not the underdog. Sure. All right. Let's keep it going.
The under Tiger, then. That's for sure.
Yeah. Vandy versus Vatek. I'm going Virginia Tech. Oh, by the way, I don't know if y'all seen the comments on the video, Cole. You and I. They hate being called Vatek.
They hate being called Vatek.
Why? I mean, I've never known that was a thing. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna have to ask our friends, Sons of Saturday. They're good Vatek dudes. Well, I always say Vatek. I don't know. Either way, VT, the Hokies, Virginia Tech, OG Beamer Ball, whatever you want to call them. Is anybody going upset here? Anybody want to get frisky? No.
No, I like Virginia Tech to cover this one pretty easily, don't y'all?
Yeah.
What is it?
I mean, if I got to go one with, if I got to go one with the other, it's like my heart wants to see an upset, but my head says, Virginia Tech.
I'm excited to see the Vanderbilt offense. I know we all with Tim Beck, obviously Diego Pavia. It'll be a fun. What if they come out there and just put some yards on Virginia Tech? I don't think Vandy's going to win the game, but no. Yeah, it'll be an interesting. You got to watch the offense there with the doors.
There's a graphic being made soon, so we're gonna have a drop. I have Virginia Tech in the playoffs. This is the run that we are waiting to see of the Hokies as they go dominate in Blacksburg this year. So I can't pick against them. Because if they lose, if they lose, my argument is shot completely. Immediately, if they were to lose this game and still somehow get to the conference championship and they're 11-2, immediately shot. There's no chance I'm getting them in the postseason. Because you lost to Vandy. So I got to go with VT.
No, Virginia Tech, that's a veteran team, and they're going to come out week one handle business. So Tennessee.
I put a little bit of money on Kyron Jones for Heisman odds.
I mean,
it's not the worst bet. It's not the worst bet.
But I know your big money's on Jackson Dart, which I respect.
Dartnado! It's coming to your town near you, baby.
We've all got Tennessee. They're going to roll against Chattanooga. Florida, Miami. I went Gators 23-20, man. I think
that's I got Florida. I want to see. I'm interested in this Florida secondary. I keep hearing things from them that they really like the improvement of Jason Marshall, the Washington transfer. Asa Turner's kind of become their guy. It's kind of their vocal guy, holding people accountable. I'm really interested just to see how Miami handles this. Mario Cristobal usually kind of panics in big game situations on game day. He's kind of a liability. You may not want him managing the game day for you at times, but you like him to manage your personnel side of things. But I don't know. I think Florida gets this done at home. I'm with you. There's certain games each year that I feel like a fan base goes into it and it's kind of like, you know what? We can, the corny cliche, we can be that 12th man. We can kind of will our team to a victory. I think the Florida fans feel that. I do think I think the Florida secondary is kind of the storyline here. I'll be interested to see how Florida generates explosive plays too, though. That'll be interesting too, because Florida's right side of the offensive line apparently struggling, and they're going to be facing Ruben Bain and Mestador, so that'll be interesting too. So I think it's going to be a really fun game. I think it comes down to a final drive. Jason Marshall interception closes the deal, baby.
So let's just get this out of the way. Somebody in the comment section on one of those videos was talking about how you guys were saying that the line of scrimmages were pretty close to each other. No. Miami's offensive line and defensive line is built for the SEC. If you put them in and just took off the logo of the U and just said random team and you looked at the way they played, that would feel like an SEC roster. I think on both sides of the ball. I think with the addition also what you're bringing in Simeon Barrow and Tyler Barron, that already makes you feel a lot better of a team. What's also true is that we are glazing over the fact that Cam Ward has had one of the biggest turnover problems, not by interceptions, but by fumbles on snaps. And it usually happens early in the year in a brand new system. So this is the first game of the year, early in the year.
Hardest place to ever play in his career.
Hottest place to play of the week. And also a new system. So I'm expecting actually Cam Ward to struggle with the snap. He coughs up the ball twice, as we've seen in the past, and Florida gets the dub. But I also will say that Miami is still going to be one of those teams that they'll lose this game, morale will be low, and we'll be talking about them in Charlotte come early December. So it's not that bad of a loss, in my opinion, in the overall.
No, it's not bad. It wouldn't shock me if you have both Clemson and Miami lose this week and you see them in Charlotte in December.
Nobody's going to be shocked at that one at all. And they're going to say, oh, well, here's going to be the narrative about this in the ACC. And you and I both know this. And Dave, of course, you know this just from coaching. But media people will say, well, how did they play against those SEC squads? And what if it was like a 1-point loss to Florida and somehow they beat the spread down in Atlanta and Clemson loses by, say, 7? there will be this narrative that says, well, now they're more prepared. Now they feel like they're more of a complete team. Now they have their identity. What if we replayed the game today? What if we rematched the game today? Would we still see the same results? Yes, you still would, because the SEC is better than the ACC. Stop talking that way. But you know it's going to be talking points. They'll find a way to gloss over that the ACC is actually pretty good.
Yeah, on that note, I've got Miami losing this game and then winning out, making the playoff. So
yeah.
I mean, I to your point, Dave. Again, I think the 12th man. I'll be curious to see what the status is of Montreal Johnson this week. I think he's probably going to power through and play, though. I think it's if he can sit out week 2 against Samford, lick the wounds, he will. But I think it'll take a lot to keep him out against Miami. But that's going to be a hell of a game.
Lost to VT. That's going to happen down in Coral Gables. Lost to the Hokies.
Excited to get to Gainesville on Friday. We've all got Texas beating Colorado State. Everybody's got South Carolina beating Old Dominion, right? Yes.
Yeah, I think they win the game.
Yeah, they win the game.
They win pick a game in the SEC. I think a random upset. That's like a true upset. I'd go that.
I think that you were the one that said not the spread. I think Chris and I picked the spread.
Yeah, South Carolina's going to beat Old Dominion. No, I mean, my prediction.
You got South Carolina not covering.
No, right? I've got them not covering. I've got.
So I'm the only one that has them covering the spread.
I've got 27-10. I mean, could they cover for sure? I don't think the game's ever in doubt. I'll put it that way. I think South Carolina's going to handle Old Dominion. Mississippi State's going to beat EKU. Bama beating Western Kentucky. Ole Miss against Furman, guys. The spread's 42.5. This is a game I could see being like 42-0 in the second quarter. I'm not even joking. We'll save the fun ones for last. Auburn beating Alabama A&M. Kentucky's going to beat Southern Miss. Let's jump into A&M Notre Dame. I've got the Fighting Irish. Probably a lower scoring game. Defense, muck it up. Show me A&M. I'm not a believer.
I'm going to go A&M. I get a weird feeling here. I know I'm going SEC across the board. And they probably will not all hit. But I don't know. That's another place. It's kind of different.
Kyle Field will be rocking. Kyle Field will be rocking.
Will be there. The whole key to me.
College game day there.
In that offensive line, dude. I mean, in some of the offensive line, I feel like in their scrimmages, they haven't been fired up. I was talking to an NFL scout, and again, it was just one day. One day he was there. He even prefaced that. He was like, dude, he didn't look good that one day I was there. It's just one day. I mean, everybody has a bad day. So that's the only thing that concerns me. I do like, though, how Mike Elko, again, has never had a bad defense. He's going up against his former quarterback, who he saw every day in practice, knows the ins and outs of his weakness. I don't know. It's going to come down to, I think, who can generate the most explosive plays, like I always say, between Mike Denbrock, the OC at Notre Dame, and Colin Klein, the new OC coming over from Kansas State at Texas A&M. I'll be interested to see how he filters in kind of women. But again, A&M, some unproven guys on the outside going against a really good secondary for Notre Dame. That's the thing. You look at all these top 100 lists, look at the guys who watch this, do it for a living. They have real dudes like Xavier Watts, Jordan Clark, guys, Benjamin Morrison, guys like that. They have real dudes on that back end. That's wild to say because Notre Dame's usually a little thin on there in the back end. But that will be the key. I think A&M does have to establish a run game. I think a key player to watch here, Amari Daniels. I can see him being a key in that run game for Colin Klein. I'm fired up for this game. I do think A&M, this game was at a neutral site or in South Bend. I'd probably go Notre Dame. I think Kyle Field is the difference.
Here's the bottom line. You brought in the leader in sacks for the Big Ten last year, and he knows what it's like to go up against big boys that reside out in South Bend, Indiana, because he's already played against big boys that have gone up in South Bend, Indiana. On top of that, you have one of the best defensive lines. And I've, again, just gone back to the Deadpool reference because of not only is Ryan Reynolds a god that has a way to my heart, but also it is a fantastic reference. The anchor that dissolved the Jimbo Fisher era out in Kyle Field was the departure of Mike Elko. And so now, as similar to the world of Wade Wilson, you have the anchor back in his world, and it's Mike Elko returning. I don't have to worry about what this defense is going to be. Every single year, I know what this defense is going to do. Every single year, I know they're not only going to bring in the right players, but they're going to be bringing players that are already ahead of the curve from a learning perspective to where when they step on a campus, there's no doubt that if they had to play, they can play. My main question is, do you wake up this year, if you are an A&M fan, and say, we know that we're going to win the big games, but we got to win the small games. We got to beat the South Carolinas. We got to beat the Mississippi States. We got to beat the Kentuckys. We got to beat the Auburns of the world because of those are the teams that we are more so compared to But the problem is that we just go ahead and wake up for those games against Notre Dame, against Alabama, against LSU. So that will never be a question for me. And then you throw in the atmosphere of Kyle Field. You throw in the first time that you're going to see Elko run through that tunnel, something that he has been looking forward to. Something that probably these players, several of which are going to the NFL after this year, that were a part of his last recruiting class at A&M. They wanted to set a standard when he was the DC, and they want to set a standard for new Aggies when they walk on in. And as a Notre Dame stan, as somebody that grew up in Notre Dame household and cultures and was always told to hate A&M, I'm going to go against my entire family lineage. I'm going with A&M in this game, and I think they win by 10 points. I think A&M easily finds their way with a great defensive performance. I don't think Riley Leonard has it on Saturday. I think the offensive line for Notre Dame takes that major hit. I'm going to go ahead and give you A&M wins 17-7.
Yeah,
very good defensive game. Very good defensive game in this matchup.
Yeah. Hammer the under, says Cole.
Absolutely.
Hammer the under, Color Bears. Yeah. I agree with
Literally
that.
take Thor's hammer of Mjolnir and smash it down on Vegas lines.
Yeah.
I think Mike Elko is going to be the guy. Just game one, I don't know, man. I'm going to give him some time. I got to see it. I just got to see it. That's it. All right, LSU, USC, last one, boys. I'm going LSU. I'm really intrigued by the line has dropped. It was at 6.5, I think a week ago. Now it's at 4.5. LSU favored. I'm going the LSU Tigers in a really. I've actually. It's funny enough. I've got USC covering. I've got 38-35. Why on God's green earth would I think anybody's getting a stop in this game? I mean, I don't give a damn how far you think you've come. It's kind of like when Dave was talking about Georgia Tech's rush defense. Like, how far can you come in one offseason? Granted, I say that, and Georgia Tech's rush defense was probably better than we expect yesterday. But still, for the LSU and USC defenses, this is about the offenses, man. It's just going to be a shootout. I mean, I would say hammer the over. It's probably going to be one of my plays of the week. Just for the sake of it, we're all pulling for points, pulling for the over. I do think LSU wins. It's a must-win for LSU, so I'm going with Brian Kelly and the boys.
What'd you say, Chris? What was your score?
38-35.
All right, so I got 38. I got 38-31. I'm with you. I think all offenses are going to get hitting the over here. Would probably be out.
63.5. 63.5.
I feel pretty good about that one. Yeah. Probably that high though. You got to settle in. But to the point in this game, I think we all can agree. Offenses are going to get theirs. It's kind of like a basketball game. I think you're going to. You may have a series or two where they don't get anything going, but I think it could be through the air, through the land, through sea, where we're military references here. I think the offenses are going to get there. I think the big interesting part here, though, is I think LSU at some point is going to be able to do what they want on the ground with Caleb Jackson, Josh Williams in that offensive line against a first-year DC just driving across the street, and DeAnton Lynn coming over from UCLA for SC. From reading up and doing research on it, it doesn't seem like he likes the personnel up front. I mean, people will be familiar.
LSU should bully. LSU should bully.
Bear Alexander's a familiar name for SEC people, former Georgia defensive tackle. He's out there now at USC. I don't really think he likes the personnel up front. Their strength's kind of on the back end, but I think LSU's strengths, obviously up front, they're going to try to impose a role. I think they get a lot of explosives through the ground. I think Caleb Jackson's the guy we're kind of talking about week one. But again, I think LSU's going to have their issues as well. You had Lincoln Riley all offseason preparing to go against Blake Baker. It's funny, we got two new DCs in this game, DeAnton Lynn and Blake Baker. I do think the thing is here, I think LSU's defense obviously will be improved. I'll be interested to see how aggressive they are. I think they're going to be really aggressive if you really ask me. But I think at the end, it's going to be funny. I think LSU's defense gets a stop when USC's marching the ball down the field to try to tie it up. I think somebody probably Ashton Stamps, maybe Major Burns or Sage Ryan gets an interception. I still think they're going to be average on defense this year. They'll be improved. But this is a game I think I could be a Hollywood director and you write a ton of scripts for this movie, and I would believe you. It'd be like, yeah, I could see USC going bombs over Baghdad to there. Yeah, I could see LSU just kind of controlling the whole game. I could see a lot of different scenarios in this game. I do think LSU ultimately wins this game, though. I think it'll be a close one, though. 38-31. Big mystery game. I'm fired up. Must win for both teams, though, I feel like.
LSU wins by 17.
Okay, I could see it. I mean,
I'm sorry. I don't buy it. I don't. And I've seen how many people are just glazing over USC because of the DeAnton Lynn hire. I, of all people, thought the best hire the entire offseason made was DeAnton Lynn to USC. I also know what that defensive front was last year. There were more holes than Swiss cheese. You could slice and dice it up, throw it in a skillet, cook it, bend it over backwards, eat it, regurgitate it before they even realized that a stop was being made. That's how pathetic it was out in Los Angeles. And I know what this offense can be down in Baton Rouge. Nuss Bus is going to go off. The run game is going to be phenomenal. I think that you're going to see 2 100-yard receivers in this game, Kyron Lacey and CJ Daniels. I think that you're going to have Brian Kelly literally not take his foot off the gas, because if he realizes I need a statement win early on in the season and I need people to stop talking about my defense. So, yeah, why the hell would I believe in crybaby Lincoln Riley, who runs away from competition and has talked about making sure that the schedule bodes well in our favor to get into the college football playoff? You want to know what bodes well in your favor, Lincoln? Playing against quality teams in different conferences that boost your morale, boost your resume, and shows that you belong in that same competition. If you want to go ahead and run away from actual legit factors that are going to be a reason why you're in the postseason, maybe go run to the NFL and be a quarterback's coach. Oh, wait, you'll probably fail there too.
Yeah, turnovers, I think.
Drop the mic, Cole.
You got two guys that can be turnover prone in this game, and Nuss and Miller Moss. That'll be interesting as well.
I mean, Lincoln was trying to get this game canceled, I believe. So
we got the Ole Miss one, didn't he?
He got the Ole Miss one, yeah. I mean,
okay. That one is scheduling, which I'll give you. But why get rid of
Lincoln?
USC?
I mean,
why get rid of USC? Why not get rid of FCS Furman? Why not get rid of that game?
Lincoln literally said at Big Ten Media Days he'd be willing to get rid of the Notre Dame game. I mean, that's when. I'm like, there's no one in college football who fears competition more than this man. So to your point there, Dave, you could write a bunch of different scripts in this game. Who knows?
No, the script's going to end with him having a slice of humble
y'all's opinion. Who do y'all think needs this game more? You got USC,
LSU.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a way
five straight years. That'd be 5 straight years opening up 0-1. That'd be 3 straight for Brian Kelly, and that would be. Yeah, old T-Bob and Matt.
I'll put it this way:
game show would not be it'd be really entertaining to go watch.
This is how I view it. USC would get slammed more nationally. LSU would get slammed locally, far more locally, and that's what really matters, right? Like the national, whatever. The local, oh no, you don't want the Cajuns against you. No, keep them. No, that's absolutely not.
If y'all ever tuned, by the way, before we get out of here, y'all ever tuned into that show post game?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I haven't.
Dude, after a loss, it's T-Bob's in meltdown mode, dude. It's more like
T-Bob's off for 3 sheets to the win half the time. So
fair enough. Guys, that's it. We're on to week 1. That's it. Again, all of our picks are going to be published, documented, all that good stuff. Just wanted to go ahead and get it out there. We're going to drop graphics. We got to come up with the whoever has the worst record at the end of the year. There's got to be a. I'm not going to sit in a haunted house.
I'll do it. I'll live stream it. Go ahead. Vote in the comment section. Vote in the comment section. What should the loser with the worst picks have to do at the season?
We're gonna fans decide.
So we're gonna track records every single week. We're gonna publish our picks probably around Wednesday or so. This week it might be probably still Wednesday. Either way, you're gonna be able to see our picks, document them, track them, whatever have you. And fellas, we're on to week 1. We're finally in game week. We're in SEC football game week. Kickoff on Thursday. We'll roll through the weekend. It's going to be a great time. And again, guys, reminder, we'll be doing this every single Sunday. Every Sunday at this time, by the way, 10 a.m. Eastern. If there's a change for whatever reason, we'll let you know. But I think, fellas, we're set in this time. I think we're locked in for this. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, for me, yours truly, I'll be on site for most of these, doing the live. Like this time next weekend, I'll be in Gainesville. We'll be talking that game. And, of course, from then on, we're off and running and rolling, and it'll be a great time. So also stay tuned to all the other content. By the way, guys, call-in show gets rolling tomorrow. Dave, Cole, y'all can call in. You're welcome to. Noon to 1 p.m. Eastern every single Monday. There's a new number for SEC Unfiltered, the SECU hotline. It's 803-500-1485. I will publish this everywhere, but it is 803-500-1485. I feel like that's pretty easy to remember. And it's just going to be an hour, no breaks, no commercials, no filter. Just a lot of it will obviously be on Mondays. People that want to call in and celebrate, people that want to call in and mourn their losses, people that want to call in and vent, whatever you want, man. It'll be a good time. So, and everything else. We released a full content schedule for the week, and we got all kinds of stuff upcoming, man. So, fellas, any closing thoughts going into finally game week? We've been talking about this for forever, looking forward to it for forever. We got SEC football this week, boys.
My mom commented.
What?
Your mom?
My mom just commented on the
video. Calling the baby boy.
Judith Shout out to Judith on the comment section. Let's go. You're a traitor.
Yeah. Gramps is rolling over in his grave or in his urn behind me, and he's definitely here to. And the worst part is that it's a Kelly Green urn, so he is definitely not happy with me right now.
No, I mean, we got SEC football for 4 straight days: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. We got 4 straight days.
The beauty of college football.
The beauty of college football.
See if our questions are answered. I'm fired up. No, it'll be fun. A lot of 4 real intriguing games that you can make a case either way.
Yeah, let the madness begin indeed, boys. Again, appreciate y'all taking the time. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We got over 600 people right now watching the show, man. This is going to be an amazing season. The first football season for SEC Unfiltered. And us three, your 3 amigos, we're going to be a big part of that, obviously. So, again, thank you all so much for the love, the support throughout the entire offseason, by the way. I do want to say thank you for that, man. We're extremely grateful. We would not be able to navigate our way through the offseason and through the preseason and keep our sanity without you guys showing love and support, interacting, engaging, knowing we got like-minded people in our corner that are, having fun along the way with us, man. It's really, really cool. But we finally made it. We made it to game week and appreciate each and every single one of you. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, wherever you get those as well. Also, you can check us out via social media platforms, all across social media, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. For Dave Shumate and Cole Thompson, I'm Chris Phillips. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. We will catch you all on the other side.